Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, you're welcome to Sew with Mediva. And if you're a returning subscriber or a returning viewer, thank you for sticking to my channel. So in today's video, I'll be showing you guys how to cut and sew this stylish cut together sleeve jumpsuit with an elastic waistband. So this video is very detailed, very easy to follow, and very beginners friendly. And this jumpsuit has a zipper at the back for easy wearing. So if it's something you're interested in, make sure to keep watching and make sure you watch till the end so that you don't miss out on any detail. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel. So I made use of 2 yards of the two different prints, so 2 yards each, making a total of 4 yards for this jumpsuit. So I have my ruler here, my scissors, my tape roll, and my chalk. So let's go ahead now to fold the fabrics. So we're going to start with the upper part of the jumpsuit, and I'm cutting on only one part of my fabric. So I'm cutting both the front and the back panel of one side together. So make sure your fabric is facing each other on the right side or on the wrong side. I made a mistake here when I was cutting mine, but make sure your two fabrics are facing each other on the right side or on the wrong side. And the back panel is bigger than the front panel with 2 inches because we're going to be having zipper at the back. So we're going to be placing all the measurements on the front panel. So the first thing we want to do is to place the shoulder to shoulder measurements divided by 2. So mine is 8 inches, and I'll go ahead to just mark that 8 inches there. So mark your appropriate measurements on the front panel alone. And then the length of my sleeve is 10 inches, but I have 12 inches here because I'm going to fold in the remaining 2 inches at the base. So it's a cut together sleeve with the neckline. We're not going to attach any sleeve to it. So the wideness of the neckline is 4 inches, but I added 1 inch to it because of the joining in front. And then the depth of the neckline is 3 inches because I'm going to still have an opening in front. So I'm using the same neckline for both the front and the back panel. So you can use whatever neckline you want for yours. So I did 4 inches by 3 inches, and I connected the points together. So after doing that, I'm going to come over to the other edge of my fabric and come down by half of an inch, and then I'll connect that half of an inch now down to meet the neckline. So the full length of this jumpsuit is 59 inches, and this upper part that we're working on is 16 inches, which is my shoulder to my half length measurement, and the lower part is 43 inches. So altogether we're going to have a full length of 59 inches. So just work with your own measurements. Come over to this point now and mark your round armhole measurements divided by 2. So mine is 9 inches. I'll add 1 inch for seam allowance and 1 inch for ease, making 11 inches. So I'm going to mark that 11 inches there. So after marking the armhole, so like I said earlier, the full length of the upper part is 16 inches, but I have 17 inches here because I added 1 inch for joining to the lower part. So the lower part is going to be 43 inches long to make up my 59 inches length of jumpsuit. I hope you understand. So on this lower part, go ahead to divide your round waist measurement by 4. So mine is 9 inches, and I added 3 extra inches to it for ease because you want your jumpsuit to be free on that area, and 1 inch for seam allowance. So I have a total of 13 inches there. So I'm going to mark 13 inches on the lower part. So after marking, I'll go ahead to connect the 2 points together. So I'll go ahead to connect the armhole opening down to meet the waistline this way. So connect the 2 points together this way, and then after connecting, I'll go ahead to form an arc at this point so that it won't appear funny when I sew it. So I'll just form an arc this way. So after doing that, the next thing is to cut it out. So go ahead to just cut it out following the points that you've marked. So I'll cut out the neckline, and don't forget to place your fabrics right sides facing each other or wrong side facing each other before you cut it out. So I have 2 pieces of it now. I have the front panel and the back, although I'm still going to cut out another back panel. So I'll use these pieces now to cut on the other fabrics, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like. So to cut out the other fabric for the front panel, go ahead to place your fabrics right sides facing each other or wrong sides facing each other. But if the right and wrong side of your fabric is the same, just go ahead to cut it anyhow. This is to avoid the patterns from being in the same direction. I hope you understand. So this is me cutting out the front panel, cutting out the other fabric for the front panel. So guys, after I use the same method to cut out the front and the back panels, you can see that we have 2 pieces each of the front panel and of the back, and they are both on the same side. So this is why I said right sides facing each other. This is because we are using 2 different fabrics. You don't want to have it in the wrong direction. So you can see that we have them right sides facing each other on the same side. and this is the 2 inches zipper allowance. So I'm going to set these pieces aside. I will work on the lower part of this jumpsuit. So before I draft out the lower part, I'm going to confirm with the same fabric that I used for the upper part to know which side is going to be the center front and which side is going to be for the sides. So this is going to be the center front where the crotch area will be. So I'll set the upper part aside while I'll work on the lower part. So for the lower part of this jumpsuit, I've gone ahead to mark a starting line at the top. So go ahead to mark yours, and then from that line, mark your from your high waist measurements down to your hip line. So mine is 9 inches, and from my high waist now to my crotch, I usually use 13 inches, but because it's a jumpsuit, I'm going to add 1.5 inches to it, making about 14 inches. So to get your crotch, divide your round hip measurement by 4 and add 1 inch to it. Then because it's a jumpsuit, go ahead to add additional 2 inches to whatever you got. So mine, I'm using 14.5 inches because you want that crotch area of a jumpsuit to be free. So come over to the hip line now and mark your round hip measurements divided by 4. Add 1 inch for ease and 1 inch for seam allowance. So I have 13.5 inches. And then mark that same 13.5 inches on the waistline, or whatever you got for yours, mark it on the waistline. And then mark that same figure again on the crotch line. So mark it on the crotch line. So I'm marking the same 13.5 inches I got on the crotch line. And then I'll go ahead to connect the 3 points together. So after connecting, the next thing is to get the front crotch extension. So divide your round hip measurement by 4, and whatever you got, divide it again by 4. So I got 3 inches for mine, approximately 3 inches. So I'll mark 3 inches there, and then I'll go ahead to curve the line this way to form your crotch extension. So from this crotch line, come down by 2 inches to mark your thigh line, and then extend the lines this way. So right now, measure what you have on the crotch line down to the crotch extension. So I have about 16 inches here, and then get the midpoint. So mine is 8 inches. And then on the thigh line, I'll mark my round thigh divided by 2 and add 1 extra inch to each for seam allowance. So I got 14 inches. So I'm going to share that 14 inches between the two lines, which is 7 inches on this side and 7 inches on the other side. And then I'll take that same 14 inches and place it at the base of my pants. So I'll just come in by half an inch on this side and measure my 14 inches at the base because it's a straight leg pants. I'll measure it here, and then I'll go ahead to connect the points together. I'll connect this crotch, this thigh line now down to the crotch line this way, and then I'll extend this down to the full length of my pants. I'll do the same thing for the other side. So I'll just connect this point all the way up to the waistline before we cut it out. So let's go ahead now to cut it out. So I'll just go ahead now to cut this out. So we're going to be using this front pattern to cut out the back patterns. So after cutting out, the full length of the lower part, just like I said earlier, is 43 inches. But I have about 44 inches here because of the folding allowance. So we'll be using that 1 inch to fold in the base. So let's go ahead to cut out the back. So before we work on the back, I've used the front panel to cut out the other fabric. So I placed them right side facing each other, and I cut out the other fabric. So when you compare it to the upper part, you can see that the fabrics are on the same side for both the upper part and the lower part. I hope you guys understand. But if you're using the same fabric, you don't need to worry about this. To cut out the back panel, I'm going to place my front panel on the fabric this way, making sure the wrong sides are facing each other or the right sides are facing each other. And then I'll make sure there is space at the upper part and on both sides because of the allowance and crotch extension. So I've used my pins to secure the front panel on the back fabric, so go ahead to do that as well. And I left spaces just as I said earlier, and the right sides are facing each other, the wrong sides I mean. So the first thing you want to do is to come over to the waistline area of the back panel and come up by 2 inches. You can do 1.5 inches if you're on the small size. So I'm using this method for the back because I want it really free. So come over to the crotch area and extend by 3 inches if you is a big sized person, and you can do 2.5 inches for a small size person. And on this hip line, I'll come out by 2.5 inches. I normally do 2 inches, but I want the back area to be free, so I'll be doing 2.5 inches. So I'll go ahead to connect that waistline now down to the 2.5 inches this way, and then down to the crotch extension. So for your crotch extension, you can do 2.5 inches if you're on the small size, or you can do 3 inches if you want it really free. So I'll go ahead to just mark that same 2 inches now all the way down. I'll mark 2 inches all the way down to the full length of my pants this way. And then for the waistline, I'm going to measure what I have on the front panel waistline. I have 13 inches there, so I'm going to repeat that same 13 inches this way, forming a slant down to meet the front waistline. I'll replace it, and then I'll go ahead to connect the points together this way. So the back panel is always higher because of the butt at the back. So this is basically all for the back. Let's go ahead to cut it out. So you should add a zipper allowance of about 2 inches to the center back before cutting out. So after cutting out, this is what we have. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the front panel from it, and then I'll use the pattern to cut out the other fabric for the back panel. I'll use this to cut out the other fabric, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like. So I've used the back pattern to cut out the other fabric, and I added the zipper allowance to that part. So I just cut out this other fabric, 2 inches zipper allowance to attach to this back. So I'm going to just stitch this down to this part of the back panel as my zipper allowance. So for the zipper allowance, I came down by 9 inches from the half length. So I'm going to start stitching from that 9 inches all the way to the crotch. So let's go ahead now to start joining the fabrics together. So we're going to start joining from the front panel. So I'm going to place the fabrics on each other, right sides facing each other this way. I'll merge the two similar fabrics together and then stitch it together using 1/2 inch. When I'm done with that, I'll come over to the other side. I will do the same thing. And when I'm done stitching the front panels, I'll do the same thing for the back panels, and I'll show you guys the next thing to do. So guys, after I joined the waist areas together, I went ahead to also place the fabrics right sides facing each other and join the center front all the way to the crotch. But for the center front, I came down by 5 inches from the neckline because I want an opening in front before I closed it up. So when you turn into the right side, this is what it will look like. There's going to be an opening in front, so I came down by 5 inches for this opening. You can make yours shorter depending on what you want. So when I fold it in, it's going to appear this way. So on the back panel also, I did the same thing, but I closed it up only after the zipper allowance. So after joining the waist area, I placed them right side facing each other this way, and then I came up by 1 inch at the zipper allowance area and stitched it all the way down to the crotch area. So when you open up, this is what you will have. So I'll go ahead to use my pins now to hold on this zipper allowance closed, so that it won't disturb us when we are trying to join together. So I'll close it up this way. So go ahead to use your pins to close it up, and then I'll show you guys the next thing to do. So after closing up the zipper allowance, this is what the back panel looks like. So the next thing is to join the front and the back panels together. So go ahead to place them on each other, right side facing each other, and stitch down the shoulder areas together using 1/2 inch. Stitch it down, and when I'm done with that, I'll come over to the side, starting from the armhole area. I'm going to stitch it all the way down using 1 inch, my 1 inch seam allowance, all the way down to the full length. So if you're going to insert pockets in yours, this is the time you insert it. You just come down by 18 inches and insert your inseam pockets before you close it up. So I'll stitch it all the way down the other side, and when I'm done with that, I'll merge the crotch area as well, and then close it up all the way down. Closed up on this side and on the other side. So when I'm done with that, I'll show you guys what it looks like. So after joining the shoulder areas and the sides together, this is what it looks like. So I've also gone ahead to finish up the crotch area like I said. So before you turn over to the right side, go ahead to notch this armhole area. So turn it to the wrong side and notch the seam of this armhole. This is going to help it appear very neat on the right side. So anytime you are doing a cut together sleeve, make sure you do this. Notch this armhole area before you turn it over to the right side. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'll notch it. So make sure you don't notch it up to the seam area. So by the time you turn it over to the right side, it's going to appear very neat like this even before you iron it. So the next thing we want to do is to finish up the neckline. So I'm going to first of all finish up the neckline and then fold in this opening in front. I'll fold it in and stitch it down. So when I'm done with that, I'll go ahead to pipe the neckline. I'll use the fabric to turn it over on this side and turn it over on the other side. I'll also finish up the sleeves and the base of the pants. I'll fold it in twice and stitch it all the way around it. So when I'm done with that, I'll show you guys what it looks like. So after piping the neckline, this is what it looks like. So I've also finished up the sleeve. I folded it twice, and I also finished up the base of the pants, just like I said earlier. So the next thing we want to do is to insert the zipper at the back. So I've gone ahead to remove the pins from the back that I used to secure it. So this is the zipper I'm working with. So go ahead to open it up first, and then go ahead to flip it over to the other side this way, and then fold in the base. So taking your 2-inch zipper allowance, go ahead to stitch the zipper into the zipper allowance all the way down. So you can use your pins to hold this down before you stitch it. So stitch it into the zipper allowance, and when you are done, do the same thing for the other side. Fold in the edge of the zipper this way and stitch it in all the way down. So when I'm done with that, I'll show you guys. So after I inserted the zipper at the back, this is what it looks like. Let me turn it over to the back for you guys to see. So this is what the zipper looks like at the back. You can see how neat it came out. So the next thing you want to do is to flip this jumpsuit now to the wrong side so that we can insert the elastic casing. And go ahead to take your tape rule and measure what you have on the waistline all the way around to the other side. So starting from one side of the zipper, go ahead to measure what you have all the way around it. So I have about 48 inches for mine. So I'm going to use this to cut out my elastic casing. So I'm going to cut a fabric that is 48 inches in length and 2.5 inches in height. So I'll show you guys what to do when I'm done with that. So after I cut out the fabric, this is what we have. So I folded in 1/2 inch on both sides for the 2.5 inches. So I'm left with 1.5 inches for my elastic casing, because I'm making use of a 1-inch elastic band. So I want the elastic to move in freely inside the casing. So what you're going to do now is to bring this fabric to the waistline on one side of the zipper, and then go ahead to use your pins to hold down the fabric on the waistline. So make sure the midpoint of the fabric is on the waistline, and use your pins to hold it down. So after using your pins to hold it down, go ahead to stitch it on the upper part all the way around it. So stitch it all the way around it. Stitch it on the waistline. After using your pins to secure it, you stitch it all the way around it on the upper part till you get to the other side of the zipper allowance. So you can add extra 1 inch to the length so that you can be able to fold the edge of this fabric when you get to this point, so that you can have a neat finishing. And when you are done, you do the same thing for the lower part. You stitch it down on the lower part, and then you have this hole on this side we'll be passing our elastic through. So let's go ahead to do that now. So after I stitch down the elastic casing on the upper part and on the lower part, this is what it looks like. And this is the space you'll be passing our elastic band through. So I'm making use of this 1-inch elastic band. And to get the length of elastic band you'll be needing, go ahead to measure what you have on your round waist. So mine is 36 inches. So I'm going to subtract 6 inches from that 36 inches. So I have 30 inches in length here, because you still want the elastic band to stretch. So I have 30 inches here. You can subtract 7 inches or 8 inches depending on how tight you want the waist to be. So I'm going to use my office pin now to insert this elastic into the elastic casing. So passing the elastic into it this way and close it up, and then come over to this opening at this side on one side of the zipper allowance, and go ahead to insert your pin with your elastic So keep inserting the pin with the elastic into it this way all the way. So make sure to take note of the other edge so that it doesn't run into the elastic casing. So I'm still passing my elastic in till I get to the other edge of my zipper. I get to the other side of the zipper, and then after I get there, I'm going to just go ahead to adjust the elastic into the elastic casing this way. So the next thing I'm going to do after passing my elastic band through the other side, I'm going to stitch down this other edge this way, very close to the zipper. I'll stitch it down on this side. When I'm done with that, I'll go over to the other side, the side that has the pin now, and stitch it also on the side. I'll stitch it down close to the zipper on this side as well. Stitch it down. You can do that like 2 to 3 times so that the elastic can be very firm. And when I'm done with that, I'll show you guys the finished product of this jumpsuit. So guys, after I stitched out the waistband, this is what it looks like. So you can see the elastic effect on the waist area of the jumpsuit, and this is what the back looks like. You can see how neat it turned out. So this is what we ending this video for today. I hope you found it useful, and I hope you learned something new. So don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.